Welcome back. I'm Brooke.
And I'm Todd.
And this is Football Friday.
Cheers.
So this week we're going to be talking about defenders, which is very fun.
Oh, that's cool. What are defenders?
So defenders are the outfield players. Their primary role is to stop attacks during the game. So they're the ones close to the goalkeepers that are keeping the other team from scoring.
So how many defenders are on a team?
So it depends. They fall into four main categories: center backs, fullbacks, sweepers, and wingbacks. But a lot of those kind of tend to flow into each other, and they're very similar, or they tend to be seen as other roles on the field as well. But that's what traditionally the defenders were when football was created. So I'm going to talk about all the different types of defenders.
Well, before you start talking about all the different types of defenders, what's your favorite of the different types of defenders?
I don't know. I think probably from my research, either fullbacks or wingbacks.
Okay.
Because they're the ones that are doing they can do pretty much everything on the pitch. So not just defending, but they're also in the midfield, and they're also running and scoring up front.
So do defenders have to be in great shape and be very fast?
Yes.
Do they have to be very strong?
Yes.
Okay. Do they have to be very smart?
Yes.
Do they do lots of fun things like offsides traps?
I didn't see anything about offsides traps, but yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do they have to communicate well with each other?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good to know.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to start with center backs. They're also called center defenders or center halves. Center backs defend directly in front of the goal and try to prevent opposing players from scoring. So most teams employ 2 to 3 center backs in front of the goalkeeper. So in a 4-2-3-1, a 4-3-3, and a 4-4-2, all use 2 center backs. So you've got, with the line of 4, they have 2 center backs in the middle, and then they've got a left back and a right back, which we'll talk about later.
Mm-hmm.
So some examples of famous center backs are Antonio Rudiger and Manuel Akanji, who we've seen both of them play.
Yeah. We like Akanji. He's Swiss.
Yeah, we do like Akanji. I'm also a really big Rudiger fan.
Okay.
He's really good, and right now he's one of the few center backs that they have right now.
Oh, okay.
Because I think the others are injured.
Yeah, but he also actually goes up front, I think, too, and tries to on corners. He goes up into the middle of the box to try to score with his head.
Yeah. So in certain plays, so corners or when not penalties, free kicks when they're really far forward, the defenders will go up front with the rest of the team to help in the scoring.
Okay.
So I actually didn't have too much on center backs.
Okay.
Because they're the ones that when you think of defenders, they're probably the position that you think of. They're the ones that are directly there, that are directly against the center forwards, and trying to keep those players from scoring.
So are they probably the best defenders on the team then, you think?
I don't think so. I mean, not necessarily.
Okay.
I think in certain in certain formations they are, but in others I think you get more use from your wingbacks and fullbacks.
Okay. Well, I know a lot of times that when teams are attacking, they'll have guys that are have a lot of speed on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
And so if your attacking team has a lot of speed on the outside, I guess you got to have a lot of speed on the outside in defense, right? Because I guess the wing backs are those the outside backs?
Yes, and so are fullbacks, but that it's a little complicated. I'll get into that.
Okay,
later.
So I guess they have to have a lot of speed to keep up with the speed on the outside.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Go full Ted Lasso there.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of speed on the outside.
It took me a second, but yeah, I got the reference. Okay, so next we're going to talk about sweepers, also known as libero, which is Italian for free. They sweep up the ball if an opponent manages to breach the defensive line. It's a more fluid position than other defenders, so sweepers require better ball control and passing ability than typical center backs, and their talents are typically defined to the defensive realm, like in the area where the defenders are. Sweepers are not typically used in modern football, though, but some of the most famous sweepers in history are Bobby Moore and Franz Beckenbauer, which I've heard of Bobby Moore, but I had never heard of Franz Beckenbauer. He was German and probably one of the greatest football players of all time.
Oh, wow. Did he have a broom, too, since he was a sweeper?
I don't think so.
Okay. So a sweeper doesn't need a broom?
No.
Only if they play Quidditch also?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which Bobby Moore might have.
Oh, okay.
He was English.
Oh, okay. Did he go to Hogwarts?
No, that I don't think so.
Okay.
But yeah, sweepers are they're more free and fluid. It's not typically a position used now. I think that would more, if the ball kind of goes to the outside, the fullbacks and the wingbacks are there to collect.
Yeah. I know. I remember when I was a kid, occasionally we would have, maybe a little bit older, not when I was like super young playing, but when I was a little bit older and we played, we would sometimes have have somebody play as a sweeper, especially when the other team had one really, really, really good forward. And then we would have a sweeper whose job would basically be to make sure that forward didn't get the ball or didn't, if he got the ball, to get it back from him quickly. And so usually our best defender played in the sweeper role.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see it. Like, sweeper would probably be, they have to be so focused on the control and making sure that they pass it to their team. So getting a full pass away from the goal. So next we're going to talk about fullbacks. So there's left back and right back.
Okay.
They locate the holding wide positions and traditionally stay in defense at all times. There is one fullback on each side, except in defenses with fewer than 4 players. In early decades of 2-3-5, the 2 fullbacks were the same as modern center backs. Later, 3-2-5 involved a third dedicated defender, causing the fullbacks to occupy wider positions. In the modern game, fullbacks have taken on a more attacking role. Many utility players who can play multiple positions are natural fullbacks. And actually, I had different examples, but because every single example I found for fullbacks were also wingbacks.
Okay.
So from my understanding of that is that these are very similar positions. And so if you're a fullback, you're also a wingback, because you do have to have that kind of utility in being able to play anywhere on the pitch. So not just in defense, but also in the midfield and forward.
Yep.
So the 2 examples I saw were Alphonso Davies and Sergio Ramos.
Okay.
Alphonso Davies is a Canadian player. Actually, I think, he plays for Canada, and also, where does he, shoot. I think he plays for Leverkusen now, or he used to at least. I don't remember, I already forgot.
So just thinking about the teams that we're watching now, Real Madrid, like who's an example of a wingback or a fullback there? Is like too many?
Sorry, really quick. Alphonso Davies plays for Bayern Munich.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good.
I was close. It was in the Bundesliga, so.
Yeah.
So, for example, fullbacks on Real Madrid, who did I see as, I think I put someone under. Oh yeah, Danny Carvajal is an example of a fullback for, I think he's a right back.
Okay.
But so he plays as a fullback for Real Madrid. He's obviously injured right now. And David Alaba, who is coming back from an injury, he plays for Real Madrid, and he's also a fullback.
Okay. Now, so I was just thinking about, I know that right now, because of the injuries, I think Real Madrid has some players that would normally play midfield positions that are that they've been having play on defense, and I think they've been doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, so Tchouaméni is an example. He's traditionally a midfielder. He's been played back in defense, and so is Mendy.
Okay.
Who also French.
Yeah.
is traditionally, I think, traditionally a midfielder.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong about that. He might be a defender, but
Okay.
I didn't see him at all on any of my defense research. So
Okay.
okay,
Well, we learn.
yeah. So the last defense position is the wingback. So wingbacks are a variation on the fullback with a heavier emphasis on attack. So typically the fastest players on the team, they're used in formations with 3 center backs, and sometimes they're classified as midfielders.
Mm-hmm.
In the modern game, wingbacks are the combination of wingers and fullbacks, and it's one of the most physically demanding positions in modern football. And 2 of the best examples are Trent Alexander-Arnold and Danny Carvajal.
Okay.
Trent Alexander-Arnold right now is currently the best in the world
Okay.
at his position, so he plays for Liverpool and he also plays for England.
Do you think it's because he has 3 first names?
Maybe.
Okay.
It could be that, yeah.
All right. Mm-hmm. So, good.
Yeah. That's all my research on defenders.
Okay. Well, Coach Brooke, what is your favorite formation? Is it a 4-3-3, a 4-4-2? What about if a team do teams play like a 5-3-2 at all?
Real Madrid occasionally plays a 5-3-2, I think.
In a 5-3-2, do you think they would have 3 center backs and 2 wing backs?
Yes, because
Okay.
you don't really see too many sweepers, so maybe one of the center backs kind of falls into like that sweeper role.
Yeah.
But I think my favorite formation is the false 9.
Oh, okay, the false
You have
9.
your strongest midfielders up there
Okay.
and like running forward. You
Yeah.
can't. I mean, that's crazy.
So, I think one of the things that I was thinking about is if you're playing with 4 on the back and you have 2 center backs and then 2 wing backs, for example.
Mm-hmm.
If the attacking team overloads one side, then you really have to rely on your midfielders to drop back and cover the extra man and keep an eye out for the late man making the run and cover him too. But then that's also where they a team with a line of 4, well, I think they'll try to do an offsides trap. So those 4 defenders, and especially when they see a guy as fast as I don't know,
Kylian Mbappe or
Mbappe,
Vini Jr.
Yeah, up there. I think as soon as they see that he's about to make a run, they might in a line step up in front of him, and then he's all of a sudden already offsides before he even starts his run. I don't know.
Yeah. I think maybe. I mean, when you have like a lot of defenders, I feel like it would probably, if you're communicating with each other, it would be easy to get someone offside. I think.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think is I think or I guess a key attribute for a center back?
I think for a center back, you do have to be really fast. I mean, for any position.
Yeah.
But you have to be like prepared for anything. So you have to be thinking like really far ahead of what could happen because you have to see down the pitch where you need to be.
Okay.
Starting from the beginning of the run.
Oh, okay, good. And I guess you have to be able to recognize when the attacking team is making their runs too, right?
Yeah.
And know where the ball's going to go and try to interrupt, the passes or cover the open guy. Or, so somebody's got to cover the guy with the ball, but the I guess the backs also got to recognize who's making the runs and get in and intercept those.
Yeah.
Okay. That's true. So, do you think kind of who kind of do you think the center backs are generally more in charge of the defense as a whole, or do they like choose one person kind of to say, okay, now we're moving up and doing the offsides trap on this play, or do you think they kind of just have an agreement, or they just kind of wing it?
I think the center backs are probably the most in charge there. Because they're the ones, I mean, if you're in the center, you can kind of see more on both sides.
Okay.
So, I mean, they might be able to see more of what's coming from one side than, say, if you're a left back, you can't see what's coming as much from the other side as...
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we think? I think also maybe oftentimes the center backs kind of decide which side of the field when they recover the ball from the attacking team. Then now we become the attacking team. They get to decide which side of the field we're going to start the attack on, right? Because they'll push it out to the left wing back or the right wing back or up to the midfielder or even take it up the center. I think. Depending on what they see up the field, you know, and I guess they have to have vision for attacking too. Yeah. So good. Okay, cool. It's fascinating. It's really, you know, the defensive positions, you know, can be really complicated. It can, I think, make a team or break a team.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You need to have a really strong defense for your team.
Sure. Yeah.
I have a question. Who is your favorite defender?
Oh, my favorite defender. I mean, okay. So I'm gonna have to say I think Alexi Lawless. Okay. You probably don't know who Alexi Lawless is. Okay, so this is funny. Back in the 90s, on the U.S. National team, Alexi Lawless was one of the defenders there, and he was a huge, very tall, big guy, had big hair, big red hair, and he was. And so the most notable was he when the U.S. had a set piece, he would get up there and be the big tall target to put the headers into the goal. So I mean, you know, I always when I think of defenders, I think of Alexi Lawless. So
that's funny.
Yeah. How about you? Who's your favorite?
Oh, Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Okay.
100%.
Okay. Good,
he's a very versatile player, and I think he's like really found his stride being more on the defensive line. And I mean, he was amazing in the Euros. Yeah. We saw that, and so yeah.
And he's got all those first names. So.
I know he does. Yeah.
All right. Good. All right. So I think that's good for.
Yeah, that's all I got. So.
Okay. All right, maybe we'll learn more and come back to you with another episode about defenders later.
Maybe.
I mean, we're learning too, right?
Yeah.
It's a process.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you for listening to Football Friday, and don't forget to check out our regular weekly episodes of Wine Together. If you want to join the conversation, don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok @WineTogetherPod.